Next question comes from, we got 2 Orlando Magic questions. I know this because I grouped them together in the doc that I'm using. We'll start with Tony's. Is Jalen Suggs turning a corner or just in the middle of the hot streak? My answer is yes. I think he could be. I don't expect him. The past 2 games, he shot the hell out of the ball from 3. I don't think he's going to shoot 1,000,000,000% from 3 all year, but he kind of showed a turn last year as someone who could make his open threes. He's hitting his above the break threes, but he's also spacing to the corner more often this year. I think that's a positive, even when they're not going in. This is more anecdotal. It feels like he's making quicker decisions away from the ball as well. It's where he's coming to go when he's going to get it. Like he will go and get it, or he's going to keep it. He catches it, he keeps it moving, and then maybe he'll relocate afterwards. It feels like I'm seeing more of that. Magic fans could definitely speak if they've watched every single game that he's ever played, can speak more to that than me. I think the bigger thing with him is there is more variability in his drives. He's finishing better at the rim. It was the game against Milwaukee. He had just a couple really nice left-handed drives. So there's a little bit more variance there. I know he talked about when he was injured in 2022 or was it 2021 that he did a lot of dribbling with his left hand. So it makes sense that he's a little bit like ambidextrous. It feels like he's more ambidextrous this season. And then the variability is not just in that. It's more so to me, he's passing on 41.7% of his drives with an assist rate of 16.7%. Last year, 29.7% pass rate, 7.7% assist rate. So he's passing more. The passes are translating to assists without there being some major uptick in talent around him. Like, yeah, they've added like some guys, and then there's also just, these players are going to grow. They're going to get better. But this is the base. This is the crux of the core that was there last year. And so he's making smarter passes, and that variability is important. Also, a fun fact as I record this, every player who has finished as many drives as Jalen Suggs while shooting as well, which is over 53%, and then matching or eclipsing his assist rate. Jamal Murray, may his hamstring continue to heal, and Spencer Dinwiddie. That's pretty good company. And I would view it, we know what he does on defense. It's basically controlled chaos, and the assignments he takes on, they're tough assignments, and like he does a great job by and large. He can do stuff on the ball. He can also take some chances away from it, but he is for stuff where it becomes ungoverned chaos. There is the controlled chaos element of him where he is a type of perimeter defensive player that opposing units kind of have to plan around, and just him and Markelle Fultz, when Fultz is healthy, able to play them together when Wendell Carter Jr. is healthy. Like, I want to see the two of them. I want to see more when Fultz is healthy with Suggs and Anthony Black. I don't know what the offense looks like. Like that's quintessential Paolo at the 5 territory, and then play them with Franz and just see what that looks like in extended run, not just in sort of fits and bursts. And so I think this is a turned corner for Jalen Suggs. I saw someone compare him. They think that he was going to have a Marcus Smart career arc. That would be an exceptional career arc to have. I do believe there's a more talented scorer in there, not necessarily as a passer, maybe as more of this playing within himself passer, but like Marcus Smart has also had to do a ton of like the pick and roll or just, from scratch table setting volume that Jalen Suggs should never have to do with, as long as Fultz and Franz and Paolo Banchero is there. So I think and look, him hitting his 3 is a big deal because I've seen this is in pushback that I thought was interesting, and that'll lead us into the next question. Magic fans talking about I can't remember which game it was where they kind of lost at the end they had a chance to win. It was a wide open 3, but it was like, kind of, that's the point, is defenses are so comfortable leaving a lot of players open on this team still. You want to improve that. And Suggs hitting his 3s above the break, no less, is a really big deal, but just sort of all over the court where it's, he's in the corner more, but he's also hitting his above the break 3s. Big deal for the Magic. Next question, also Orlando Magic related, from Daniel Mortensen III. And this dovetails with what I was just talking about. Who would be a better fit for the Magic? Buddy Hield, Anfernee Simons, or Zach LaVine? So I'm not ranking these players in terms of how good they are, because Zach LaVine is the best player of these 3. I rank them in terms of what I actually think the best fit is, and not necessarily in likelihood, but a player that I could see the Magic actually going for. If we're close to the trade deadline, we're super competitive, the defense is still hellfire, but we're 25th in half court offense like they are right now. And I'm about to get into why this is my first pick. Buddy Hield, I think, is the best fit here. He needs the ball the least of these 3. He's the best movement shooter of these 3. He might be He's not the best. Zach LaVine has the ceiling as a passer, and like Anfernee Simons and Zach LaVine have sort of the self-starting passing that Buddy Hield were not. But if you're looking for like touch passes or like swinging the ball really quickly in transition, Buddy Hield's better that he's a better complement. I think Anfernee Simons is close. Now, what I also like about Buddy Hield, though, is that he is going to fly out in transition. And this Magic team could really use some transition juice. I don't know why they don't run more often. Every time I look at their transition frequency, I'm always just kind of disappointed. And this season, they're at 19th in transition frequency. But the biggie for them is just I think that they could stand to, yeah, there's the forced turnovers, whatever. Off of live rebounds, just run. And Buddy Hield will do that. He will run after makes as well, by the way. And so you put him in, and it's also just, it's so low stakes because if you get Zach LaVine, you're viewing him as a core player. Is that tough to do when you're not, I've said this, you don't need to give up Paolo, Franz. You need to give up I think if you could just build it around salary and picks, to be honest with you, to get Zach LaVine at this point with where Chicago's going. If they're actually going to be open to moving him, that's the route they might almost be forced to go. But Buddy Hield is just more complimentary. He will come cheaper. And so that's all right. We're going to have to start thinking about Franz's next deal. He's extension eligible after this year. Paolo's deal will be here before you know it. Markelle Fultz is entering the final year of his contract right now. Wendell Carter Jr. won't be cheap forever. And so I like him as a compliment. Also, I think probably costs the least. Anfernee Simons is banged up right now, but I think his contract's pretty good. He'd be my second pick. That dude can just stroke it off the dribble more than Buddy Hield, which is important. Buddy Hield just being off ball and knowing the players that the Magic have already in place and thinking, I don't think Buddy Hield's not going to cost you Jalen Suggs. He's not going to cost you Paolo or Franz, and so, or Fultz even if you don't want him to. And so those ball handlers are going to be intact. Simons is second for me pretty easily because he straddles both lines. I think LaVine is the highest end swing, and he could come and I think make this. You put him on a team that is built to insulate him defensively, where if you're keeping Suggs and you're keeping Fultz as part of any deal, and even Wendell Carter Jr., like you are insulated. Like and Anthony Black, you're able to insulate him if it's just built around picks and salary. Or even if you're keeping, I would assume Fultz would stay. So if you're keeping one of Suggs or Black, like then you're all of a sudden able to insulate him defensively. It's just, you want him. He can be complimentary, but he's also going to have more of a from scratch need. And when you have Paolo and Franz there, I don't think you want to do anything that's going to infringe upon their volume too much, that on-ball volume too much at this point. I think you could acquire Zach LaVine and be incredible just because he becomes your third option behind Franz and Paolo, just because Paolo will be the better passer. Franz, it's sort of iffy, but like Zach LaVine just doesn't, he waxes and wanes with his vision. And so I would trust Franz there more. And you have Fultz. So you could kind of just, you could balance it out to where it ends up in net that Zach LaVine is your third option, essentially, or your third best player. And that's probably the ideal role for him. I think he's still good enough to be a number two, but just the way he plays sometimes is just, I would like him on this team, but I think Buddy Hield is just sort of the more natural fit. Great question, though. And I think it's fair the Magic be thinking along this route. They're not just because the defense is good enough now, but it plugs such a hole and it makes life ultimately easier. And look at some of their offense where it's like Franz and Paolo just really having to drive into bodies. And are they trying to draw a foul or get these tough finishes? So Buddy Hield, Anfernee Simons, even Zach LaVine, they'd all open up the floor. And that's the type of acquisition I think that they need.